growing up, emotions in your home, A, were they ignored? B, were they discouraged? C, were they punished? D, were they accepted? E, were they seen as weak? Or F, as dangerous? So these are the categories. So when you were growing up in your home, what did emotions mean in your family? Were they weak, ignored, discouraged, punished, accepted, dangerous? I know in my family, they were dismissed. They were completely ignored. You can have a feeling totally ignored. We can have people having like literally an emotional breakdown, and you look at the family members around, it's as if nothing was happening for that person. It was incredible how we were able to do that. I was a part of that system too. Yeah, weak, too sensitive, dangerous, and weak. Why would it, if anyone can share, why would emotions in an Arab family be considered dangerous? If you think about why would you having an emotion be dangerous to the people in your life? Anyone? I can tell you that emotions for many family members, and yes, hidden hangs, thank you. It exposes them very much, because if you are connected to your feelings and you have an emotion and the person in front of you is disconnected, your feelings can feel very threatening to them. Very good. So you can see that you developing a relationship, if your relationship to emotions is dismissing, ignoring, discouraging, punishing, and then hopefully at some point you have people in your life that accept your emotions, weak or dangerous. If this was what happened to you when you were younger, you may be doing this as an adult. So you may be dismissing your own emotions in a particular, you may be punishing yourself for having emotions. So it's very important for you to remember that how we moved growing up may mimic what's happening now. The key message that I want all of you to take from today's live is emotions are not a flaw or a failure of strength. They are information. That's it. Your emotions point where you may need healing, where you need to pay attention. Information. Okay. So we know that in our culture, many times emotions equal disrespect. How many of you had emotions growing up in your family and your parents, or maybe amto or amco, the amo or the jalto, saw that as a sign of disrespect? If you had emotions, they saw it as disrespect. You're disrespecting them by calling things out. You guys all talked about emotions equal weakness. Many times the silence and them ignoring you was a lack of emotional maturity, and suppression of your emotions is a lack of self-control. Okay. Thank you, Sara. Yes. So here are some, let's talk about first what emotions actually are. Now, as I mentioned before, it's information. So emotions are biological signals from the body. They're not personality traits, right? So anybody that says you were called too sensitive, your body's biological signals may be more sensitive than other people. So it's not a personality trait. They arise before logic. So you have to remember your feelings are going to come up, your emotional brain is going to take over before your logical brain. So it's important to remember we must soothe the emotional body before we can move into problem solving. So for those of you that are big ruminators and you keep thinking, it's because you're logically trying to get out of an emotional state. Doesn't work like that. But we'll pin that for a little later. Your emotions typically ask you not to react, even though many of us in our culture are so reactive for lots of reasons. They ask you to listen. And so they want you to pay attention, not to be obedient, because we were taught don't have a feeling, don't feel. You must be, our emotional range is Arab in many families. The emotional range was about this big, right? How many of you had that experience? Couldn't be too happy, couldn't be too sad, couldn't even be mellow, right? We talked about that last week. If you were talking rationally and you're grounded, they see that as suspicious. So the emotional range is quite narrow, and it's important to understand that when you have an emotion, your body is signaling you to stop, take a deep breath, objectively look, slow down, listen. What is my body telling you? Sometimes you're just hungry. Sometimes you're tired. Sometimes, I don't know, sometimes you just feel things and there's no reason. You're just feeling them. We don't have to have a meaning of every single emotion. Now, especially in our culture, we need to remember that silence is not emotional strength. I know many times we were conditioned to see it as stoic, the silence. However, what we know, and many of you have experienced in your own family history, in your own family background, silence is delayed explosion. How many of you are like this? I know I'm like this. You stay quiet, you do the tayyib, okay, oh hayo, okay, and you stay quiet and you stay quiet. Okay, let me not rock the boat. Let me just keep going with these people. And they keep poking you and poking you and poking you. And you stay silent because we have to suppress our emotion. I'm a strong person. And then they keep poking you. And then you explode. Then they look at you and they go, oh, Ishmaelak, Shu sar mahaki. Nobody's had that experience? Yeah, hidden hangs. Yeah, that explosion was big. I tell you, yes, it was huge. Because when you keep suppressing and suppressing and suppressing, at some point, your body, I've seen it in my own practice. If you think about illness, that whole mind body connection, the more you suppress, where is that emotion going to go? Where is it going to go? And sometimes it manifests in illness. If this video resonated with you, subscribe and join the community.